This is a fun presentation that I put together for a distance learning group as we were talking about teaching with Zoom and students' experience. And so this comes out of kind of some focus group work and surveying and talking with students about their experience in the video conference classroom. So it kind of started out with this idea of like the video conferencing and where it started historically being developed as a video phone, as a way to connect with others, not just with audio, but with video. So it's fun to see some of these, look at this early screen share. And then one of the first video phones that was made to be a consumer unit by AT&T, and then really where things change with digital technologies of things like KakaoTalk, Zoom, of course, Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, all of these different tools that we have. And I think the big learning is that video conferencing, live synchronous video technologies, they're made for connection, not just like attendance to a class, that they're made for interaction. And when we go towards more of a content delivery model, that's where it goes sideways. And that's the summary of, I think, the student experience. But let's play kind of like a Family Feud style presentation here. What do students report they most dislike about Zoom teaching and learning experiences? So we'll start with number 5. Unaddressed droners. So when we are going about having connection in the classroom and classroom discussion, and this is just like in the live classroom without video, those students who go on and on and on and on, it takes away from the learning experience. So number 4, unclear or no prep instructions. So students who are coming in expected to interact, but they come in unprepared. Or they've prepared and other students in their classroom have not prepared. That can be really frustrating too. I might be getting ahead of myself though. Oh, the long, awkward pause. And I talk about this in the book where there's this latency that can even be just a fraction of a second, but it's enough that makes us hesitant to jump in. And so you really have to cultivate that in the classroom through more of a proactive, directive leadership style, saying, hey, Abby, I'd like you to talk. Okay, hold on just a second, John. I'd like Amanda to say something. So really directing the traffic. It's kind of like when a traffic light's out and you've got like a latency at that 4-way stop. And so having the traffic cop in the middle really helps. And that's a skill we have to develop as teachers, I think, in both the classrooms, in video conference and in-seat classrooms, but especially in a video conference classroom. So number 2, high information, low conversation. So this is going back to content delivery. We would say it probably is not the best way to educate anyway, but it's even more difficult. It's even, if you can imagine as a landscape, it's even more uphill. The terrain is steep. So too much content, too little activities. And then number 1, peers coming to class unprepared. So I referred to that down here. So down here, number 4 would be unclear instructions, but coming to an active learning environment, and I've prepared, but the rest of my group is not prepared. So what that really directs me toward is how do I create mechanisms, grading, mechanisms of accountability within the course for classroom participation. And I like to frame this as a not participation. I think that has a lot of baggage, but contribution to the learning community. And that really requires us to establish a culture. So on the flip side of these, what are the more positive things that they enjoy? And you'll see some of these mirrored from the last ones, kind of the antonyms of what we saw before. But what do they enjoy? What do they most enjoy about Zoom teaching experiences? Well, in my limited research, I found they want to learn something new. So not just a repetition of the text that they've read or the video they watched before class as a way to prepare, but something to take them down a new path, to go deeper, to go another step in, to move up Bloom's taxonomy. A sense of balance in participation. And this goes back to that traffic cop thing out in the middle, directing at the 4-way stop where the light's out. So this idea of equity in the classroom, that the people who want to speak are able to speak, the people who are more quiet are appropriately called upon, that the whole classroom's participating. Really the best way to do this is to get students into safe, trusting, small group experiences and breakout rooms where they have more opportunity to speak. Because once you get over about a dozen learners, it's really difficult to manage that balance. So that really needs to happen inside of the breakout rooms. Number 3, strong and clear teacher leadership. So this is taking a lot more of a directive style. Again, back to the traffic cop in the intersection. They've got to be decisive. They've got to be kind of on the ball and a little more directive. It may seem bossy, but this is what your students really want. Number 2, group stability. So I want to be in a group, if I'm doing a lot of breakout exercises, where it feels safe. No one's going to jump on me. They've earned the right to challenge my thinking, to question my assumptions. But that's because we've taken the time to really get to know one another and to have opportunities in lower stakes exercises to build trust. So that's where the group stability comes in. And I think this is a tortoise and the hare thing. A lot of teachers are hesitant to invest much time in creating learning teams and developing trust because it does take time. But once groups establish this, they can go a lot faster and they can go a lot deeper. It's just those beginning weeks are going to take some time to develop that safety and trust. Okay, number 1 answer is a participative environment. It's a hard word to say, too many syllables, but an environment where I am acting, where I am a contributor, where I have an active role. And that it's a ton to do with classroom culture, with learning activities, not just content delivery like what we're doing right now with this presentation. It's a chance to interact with the material, with the teacher, and with my peers. Okay, so that is a summary, kind of the top 3 things in both areas of what do students report they most dislike about Zoom teaching experiences, and what are they reporting about what they most enjoy. Now, this is going to be more of probably an upper level, like a high school, college, and graduate school level. And students who are K-12 are probably going to report things that are similar, but it's going to be nuanced, and a few of these are going to be very different. So I just wanted to explain kind of what are the borders or the limits of my work and talking with students and how that might affect our best practices.